Let me see, bring that over here. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Greetings, 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 greetings. This is your brother, Chief Kalanago, Flying Eagle, with another video. Give me 1 second here. I want to connect this. What am I connecting? I hope everybody's doing good, man. Grand rising to each and every one of you. Let me turn my ringer off on my phone. Just saying what's up, man. Hold on for a second. Let me turn this ringer off. All right. Let me just make sure we're good on Facebook. Woo! Yeah. Man, I not I thought what you call it, YouTube had actually restricted my account for. They told me 90 days, but for some reason I sent in I sent in a I disputed the the block or whatever they told me. I sent in a little dispute letter. So I guess they acknowledged it, and they relieved or released the strike, I guess. So because I'm on YouTube right now, so hope everybody's doing good. Like I said, just coming on here to just say what's up, share a little bit of update in regards to my Niji clothing line. Everything is coming along just fine. I'm posting on Facebook, I'm posting on YouTube, I'm posting on the IG page. Um, the merchandise is really beautiful. I do realize that I need to get a few bigger sizes, all right, because the clothes are being manufactured, out of the country, and they use models that are actually a size or two smaller than the average, American size. And when I say American, I'm talking about us, because we are the only ones who are actually entitled and lawfully, spiritually, are supposed to call ourselves Americans. All right. So with that being said, the bags, I mean, they look amazing. All right. The shoes, they are coming. So it's a beautiful thing. You know, for me, this is more than just a clothing line. It's not even a brand. Like a sister had reached out to me in a post, and she said, Chief, this is really a creation, and it truly is, opposed to a brand. And the reason why I say that is because it is truly a spiritual journey. You know, our people, we have been branded, so many different labels. Okay, many, many, many different labels. Okay, and like we have said before in so many videos, so many posts, that we are the only race of people. Okay, or whether you want to say ethnicity, it doesn't matter. But we're the only race of people whose identity have been changed at least 7 times for the minimum. Okay, and there's a reason for that. And people don't take their time to ask themselves those questions. Why are we the only ones? And here's another question that people don't really think about. The United States give the illusion that it always supports the underdog, and that's a fact, right? The United States always seem to be supporting the underdog. Even the United States public, they always seem to be supporting the underdogs, right? Whether it's out of the country or whether it's within the bounds of the United States, they always seem to support the underdog. Well, here's a question. What group of people are actually categorized as the underdogs in the United States? Without a doubt, it's the people that's labeled Black and African American. So if the United States is always supporting the underdogs, why aren't the United States supporting us? Why? You see what I'm saying? So everything that happens, it doesn't matter what group it is. Typical example. Look what happened in Ukraine, right? Over 200,000, if not more, Ukrainians were able to come into the United States, get permanent residence, get housing, get welfare. They also got medical care. Why is that? Every other ethnic group comes and they're able to get the benefits, reap the benefits of this corporation, except the original people of the land. And that's why I always say, everyone comes into the Americas to live the American dream. But the true Americans, we are living a nightmare. Why is that? And we tend to blame everything on the so-called pale man. Well, not the he is pale, the so-called white man, because they're not white. You see, I always like to put things in its proper context because I know words are very powerful. And in my tongue, I know that I have the power on life and death. So it's not that I'm giving death to anybody, but I'm just putting the correct vibration and the correct energy out there, because white is a whole complete different status. Nobody's white in complexion and nobody's black in complexion. It doesn't matter how dark or how pale that person is. Nobody's white or black. They're both statuses that mean different things. Okay. And even with the term minority, okay, there were actually acts and statutes that were passed, resolutions that were passed to consider a certain group of people a minority. And people are not paying attention to those things. Hmm? Why is the government or the corporation, so to speak, passing acts and resolutions to categorize a certain group of people as minorities? And you don't see a problem with that. And you are thinking that you are a minority because you are smaller in number. No, that's not minority means. When you look at the word minority, first you have to look at the prefix of the word, right? Look at the first part of the word, minor. A minor is a child, all right? Someone who is incapable of handling his or her own affairs. That's a minor. So therefore, a minority is a child, okay? A group of children, so to speak. And that's what you allow the corporation to call you. Hmm? So they have to handle your affairs. Hmm? So all these little terminologies and all these little words that you think that have no significance, it's affecting you. And the people that are actually putting these things in place, they don't look like us. And even if they do look like us, they have already sold out. They took the bag. Because again, the United States is a corporation. So it's all about business. And if you do not have a good comprehension of what business is or what commerce is, then you are going to struggle. Hmm? Now, let me ask you a question. What's the difference between a so-called, and I'm saying so-called, black billionaire and a so-called white billionaire? There's no difference. These people get together, okay? So-called black millionaires and white millionaires and Asian millionaires and East Indian millionaires, okay? They get together and they have lunch and breakfast. Hmm? So when it's all said and done, is it really about the color of your skin, or is it about the status or your way of life? I think it's the latter. It's about your way of life. All right. I saw a video that someone sent me, and a gentleman kind of broke it down that way. So I'm gonna say I got that from somebody else because I don't want to take credit for that, right? But anyway, he gave an example, a metaphor. He said if you took a jar, all right, a jar, and you put red ants and black ants in the jar, right, in a glass jar, they will live just fine. They will not have any problems at all. Okay, in a glass jar, red ants and black ants. However, if someone comes and shake that jar, then they begin to fight each other. So the question is, all right, who was the problem? Was it the ants, the red ants and the black ants in the jar just chilling, living together, or the person who shook the jar to cause them to fight each other? And people don't realize that's what's happening in this system. You have so-called black, so-called white, so-called Asians, so-called East Indians, all these different labels that are given to people, all right? And you have, they're all in a jar. and that jar represents the United States, the corporation. And the person that's shaking the jar, causing all that tension, people are not looking at them. They are the people that you can't see. They are actually the ones causing the problems, and people will not see that. And then they have you hating each other. Hmm? That's sad, man. But as a people, we have to be able to step up and handle our own responsibilities, even as late as the early 1700s, even I would say the late 1700s, because things really start changing in the early 80s, right? But even in the 1970s, our people, we were controlling our communities. Yes, you had pimps, you had so-called gangsters, etc., but they had a different mentality. And the mentality was, we're going to take care of our women and children. We are going to protect our communities. We are going to police our own communities. We no longer have these things. And I think we have to go back to start handling our own affairs. I've been doing these videos for a very long time, right? And I've also mentioned, why don't we have a political party? I mean, of course, it's a corporation, right? So why don't we have a group that's actually around the table, around the wrong table, making decisions, or at least, contributing to the decisions that's affecting our lives as indigenous people. We don't have that. Of course, we have the OAS, Organization of American States, but they're not doing anything. Why? Because nobody's stepping up to demand that they step up and do anything. Years ago, I think it was about 2017. I reached out to the what's his what you call it, the CEO, I think, or the director of the OAS, and he was frustrated. He said, "Chief, I just don't know what to do." Because the truth of the matter is nobody's actually stepping up to apply those things, right? People, things will not happen unless you want it to happen. That is just the truth. I went to a local meeting. They have them once a month, okay, where you have the a certain within a certain jurisdiction. The precinct was there, the commander was there. You had a couple of captains and a few officers. You had senators and local senators, right? And I went to one of the meetings, and that's where the community comes together and they talk. Okay, people in different parts of the communities, they come together and talk about what's affecting the community. All right. And how many of you actually go to these meetings and let these people know that you are indigenous? How many of you go to these meetings and say, hey, listen, we are indigenous and that will not work for us? It's affecting us. Everybody's not the same. Okay. Senator, commander, do you know or have you heard of the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People? Have you heard about the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People? How come that nobody is actually applying that or teaching that to indigenous children? Why are our children being called black? How many of you are actually taking these measures? How many of you are actually taking these steps? But yet still you come on Facebook and YouTube and you complain every bloody day. Hmm? But you are not doing anything to change it. So, with that being said, what's happening to us? We cannot afford to be passing the buck and always blaming the pale man. We can't be doing that because the pale man is not the one responsible. Yes, he's the one that's the gatekeeper right now. They got him as the front man. That's all he is the front man. The pale man is not in control. I promise you the pale man is not in control. Even in England, the pale people that you see that have the crown right now, they are not the people in control. They are just the gatekeepers. They are the front people. Because why? The people that's really controlling this, they don't want you to know they look just like us. Because why? They sold out. A lot of our chiefs sold out. They took the bag. And that's why we are in the position that we're in right now. Do you think the so-called Native Americans, do you think that they could have been in the position that they are in right now if our people did not sell out? Because guess what? Our ancestors never lost a physical battle against the United States or even Britain. Never. We lost everything with the treaties that we signed on paper. That's why, hence, that phrase was created: the pen is mightier than the sword. Why? Because they defeated the greatest people on the planet on paper. Hmm? We are the greatest warriors on the planet. Yes, the American, the people that they call the American Indians. And like I tell people, I have nothing against our African brothers and sisters. But why do they give credit? Everything that reflects our culture, they always accredit it to the diaspora, the African diaspora. Why is that? Whether it's Woman King, whether it's Wakanda, whatever the case is, because they don't want you to know your greatness. They know the blood that's running through that American Indian. They know what type of blood that's running through us. They know that it's always death before dishonor when it comes to us. Hmm? So they have to give us devices. They have to give us all devices to self-destruct. They have to, because they cannot do it themselves. So they have to give it to us. Okay, in so many subliminal ways to destroy ourselves, whether it's liquor on every corner. How many of you know that alcohol causes cancer? Alcohol attacks your spirit. That's why another name for alcohol or liquor is spirit. Do you think that it's a coincidence? Hmm? No, it's not. Pardon me. It's not a coincidence. And then they told you for so many years that marijuana, I don't even know what that name is because it's a commercialized term that they use to send you in jail if you smoke it without a license. However, you don't need a license to use natural medicinal plants. You only need a license for marijuana, a name that they gave it. Okay. So I hope you get where I'm going with this because I've broken that down in many, many videos, right? But all of a sudden, they told you it's legal. And every other video, every corner, 6 o'clock in the AM, 7 o'clock in the AM, brothers and sisters smoking joints all day. Pop, puff, puff, pass, puff, puff, pass. Man, listen, that wasn't our ancestral ways, man. Our ancestors didn't sit around just smoking weed all day. Okay? Our ancestors did not smoke recreationally, all right, for the most part. When they smoked, it was done within spiritual circles and rituals. You feel me? Whether it was tobacco or medicinal plants, it was done as a religious practice, not for recreational reasons. Okay, and you don't realize that the smoke is a ghost, and it puts out energy out there. Even your smoke, when you smoke, it has an energy. You don't realize that, right? That's why when you see depictions of a ghost, it's always like a cloud. It's always like a smoke. Whenever you see the spirit moves, it's always like a smoke. It's always like a ghost. That's why when they broke down the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, all right, of course, we know what the ghost is. The ghost is actually the woman, but they made her a ghost. But when you hear about ghost, what do you see? You always see a foggy or a smoke or a mist, right? That's what ghost is. So when you smoke, it's a ghost that you're either letting go or inhaling. So when you're actually within a group of people and you don't know what kind of energy they have, and you smoke and you create that ghost, a spirit, the smoke, right? And other people inhale that, and you are inhaling other people's ghost. You don't know what type of energy they have. You don't know. So that's why it's a spiritual thing. You feel what I'm saying? It's a spiritual practice, but people don't get that because the circle that you're around, you feel me? You don't know what type of energy that they have. So now just think about this, right? If you're high yourself, could manifest itself, which is the spirit, in a ghost form or a smoke form or a fog form, imagine that smoke that you're smoking colliding with that other ghost. If they're not on the same vibration or the same frequency, it's going to create some type of chaos. Now, I know what I'm breaking down may not make sense, and some it might go over some people's heads, but some of you will get it, and some of you may not get it. You feel me? And that's why for me, I don't smoke, I don't drink. I'm not knocking anybody who does. That's your thing. If you do, you do. We all came here to have our own experience. But you have to know the truth and the reality behind everything. We cannot know everything. Well, let me rephrase that. The truth is this: we know everything subconsciously because it's actually in us, but we are not aware of everything which is consciously. Okay, let me break that down. The subconscious mind, it's aware of everything because everything is within the subconscious mind. Within that realm, there's only one reality, which is the know. So within the subconscious realm, everything is known. However, your five senses, the conscious realm, doesn't know everything or is not aware of everything. So that's why you have to tap into that realm so that you're able to be conscious of more things. All right, because there's only one reality in the spiritual realm. There's no left, there's no up, there's no down, there's no right, there's no wrong. There's only one reality. It just is beingness. That's all there is. Okay. So within the subconscious mind, our conscious world is an illusion. And within our conscious mind, the subconscious realm is an illusion. Two different worlds, okay, that are illusions to each other. However, everything that you need to know is actually within you. You just have to be able to be still enough, to focus enough to tap into that realm of beingness, to be aware of certain things. That's all. You feel me? So you're able to do all these things just by the way you take care of your temple, just by your thought process. Do you know that the universe and your mind, do you know they have the same structure? Because the universe is your mind is the universe. It is just embodied within your brain or your head, right? The point I'm making is you are able to change your own reality. So all I'm just saying is that whatever we are going through, we got to stop depending on the government. We got to stop depending on everybody else to make things right for us. As a people, as a distinct people, we have to be able to step up and do our own and do that without fear. You see what I'm saying? All of these things, oh, well, if you don't do this, so we're going to do that. Man, do you know how many times the corporations try to threaten me and I send them letters and notices and say, hey, listen, man, cease and desist. I do not succumb to threats. You know how many times? And they had to send letters to adjust to exactly what I wanted them to do because I know the power of the pen. I know you can't touch me for asserting my rights. All the threats, well, if you don't do this, we're going to do that. You are a corporation. You can't threaten a living man or a living woman. You see, I know that. So we got to stop living our lives, man, in fear and step up. Literally, truly, truly step up and start putting things in perspective. And that's why food, clothing, and shelter, the three basic essentials just for basic life. I have gone over the United Nations declarations of indigenous people a few times. I've also gone over in detail, okay, the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, and the three basic essentials: food, clothing, and shelter. That's just the basic. We are supposed to be providing that for ourselves. You see what I'm saying? I cannot do it all. I'm focusing on the clothing aspect. Now, let me tell you something. I could have gone in a different direction, but I always follow my higher self. When people talk about the Most High, they talk about the Most High as if the Most High is outside of them, as if the Most High is differentiated from them. No, that's when I still know that you are still seeking because you don't know what the Most High is. The Most High is actually your higher self. There's nothing outside of your higher self. So you are God. You feel me? And I know as that may be a challenge for most of you to grab that concept, because again, a lot of you that's living religion, you start talking about the Most High, but not realizing that once you start separating the Most High from your higher self, you are still indoctrinated. You are still indoctrinated because you're calling the Most High. Oh well, I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe in Allah. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in that. I believe in the Most High. And the Most High said this. The Most High is Yah, or the Most High is Yahshua, or all this. Those are just names for your higher self. You could call your higher self whatever you want. But the higher self said, listen, you should call me I am. That's all you should call me. That's all it is. I am that I am. And then Moses, the allegorical Moses, Moshe, whatever you want to call the name, because they're all allegory. Okay? It could have been Peter Pan. But the point is, Moses, the character name was Moses. When Moses asked the Most High, in other words, Moses asked the higher self, what's your name? The higher self didn't have a name. The higher self, I am that I am. And then Moses came down and said, you know what? Yes, it's I am that I am, but people will not grasp that concept. So I got to tell them something. So Moses said, hey, you know what? The Most High name, or he shall be called Jehovah. And they give you 4 letters, or, the acronym, okay? To say, well, that's the name of the Most High. And everybody have all these different interpretations of what this name means or what it is. And it's very simple. All you have to go is go into nature and ask an animal, hey, animal, before they called you a horse, what was your name? The horse will look at you like you're retarded because the horse don't have a name. The horse just is what it is. I am that I am. When a brand new baby is born and it arrives into this world, because your arrival date and your born date is 2 different things, but I've already gone through that in videos. So when the baby arrives, go ahead and ask the baby, hey, what's your name? The baby will go, the baby will look at you like you're crazy. What are you talking about? What's my name? I ain't got no name. And then you say, yes, baby, you have a name. If you don't have a name, well, guess what? We are going to give you a name. Your name is John Doe. You see, we have no names. We are just called by certain things. That's not your name. So that's how the government, the corporation, is able to trap you into things, because the first thing they're going to ask you is, what's your name? Oh, well, my name is John Doe. Guess what? They just pulled you into the jurisdiction. Because you say you have a name. They know exactly what they're doing. It's all about control. If I tell you my name, then the system that you created, guess what? I become your subject. I become, subject to that jurisdiction. So when I deal with certain situations, well, what's your name? Well, my honor, I am called such and such. What you mean you're called? What's the name your mother gave? My mother didn't give me a name. They just called me such and such. I don't have a name. Because did I choose that name? No. You see what I'm saying? So the point I'm making behind all this, moral of the story is this. To truly know who you are, you have to let go all of the labels. And I'm not talking about the physical body. Okay? The physical body is indigenous. The physical body is autochthonous. The physical body is an Amerindian. The physical body is an American Indian. You see what? That's the physical body. But the I am doesn't have any labels. So how can you say your most high name is such and such? Once again, it just shows me that you are not there yet. You are still on your journey, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I know that there is no other God but me. You see, I know that. And it even tells you clearly in the Bible, thou shalt not have any other God but me. Who is me? Me is me. But you thinking that me is something outside of you. And a lot of you are still afraid. Even if you claiming in your post and things you say on YouTube and Facebook, I am not religious, I am spiritual, but yet still you are praising the Most High, not knowing that the Most High is you. And there's nothing wrong in praising yourself once in a while, giving yourself a little tap on the back. Oh, you did a great job. I am that I am. You did a great job, Most High. You feel me? That's how I know I'm free. You see what I'm saying? So I am in tune with who I am. I am in tune with the Most High because I know I am the Most High. The Most High lives within this physical body. I'm not this physical body. You feel me? That's why I know no matter what they do with the physical body, they cannot enslave me. I am no man's slave. It doesn't mean that you cannot violate my physical rights, but you cannot violate my spiritual rights. No. You see what I'm saying? Because I've already gone through the rites of passage. You feel me? I already claimed and proclaimed what I am and who I am. So that's why I'm already a victor. So I'm saying all that to say is I had an option, right? A very dear friend of mine reached out to me and she said, Chief, I have a resort in Jamaica, you know, I think 18 to 24 rooms, X and X bathrooms, X and X kitchens, 2 pools, an extra couple of acres of land. She said, Chief, I would like you to, be one of the investors. I'm looking for 5 investors. Now, this is somebody that I know. I've known her for like about, I would say about 5 years. You know what I mean? So we have a good business relationship, so to speak, very cordial. It's always been respectful. Okay, so it's an individual that I know I could trust within the realm of doing business with. Okay, and that was a great offer, honestly, it was. But my higher self, I am, had already spoken to me because it's me talking to myself. You see, y'all don't realize that, right? And the higher self had already put in me what my purpose is, what the certain things that I have to do on my journey, right? So that was one opportunity that I declined respectfully. Another opportunity came. Hey, Chief, um, let us get into real estate because right now it's a good time to buy. Even if the market is high, it's still a good time to buy in New York. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the office, sat down. It was like about 5 different individuals. I knew 4 of them. One of them I didn't know, but the other 4 vouched for that extra person, which I didn't know. Very cool. I'm very good at reading energy. So the energy was right, right? So they showed me the plan, how many properties they had, and the minimum investment of such and such and such and such. And we have lawyers, everything. You know what I'm saying? So there will be contracts, and I'm cool with the contracts because I tell people I don't have to know people to do business with them because I know contracts, right? So the contract is my friend. You feel me? So with that being said, that was a second opportunity. Guess what? I respectfully turned that down as well. Now, some of you may ask why. I'm going to answer that question. The answer is the spirit, the higher self, okay, put me in the direction of the clothing. Now, clothing is a very, very challenging industry to get into. Very, very challenging, very fickle, right? Because you have all the big name brands, they have saturated the market and they are dominating the market, right? But I know it's a challenge, but I decided to listen to my higher self, and move in the direction that my ancestors want me to move into. You feel me? Yes, I could have gotten into the real estate and, flip that money a few times over and make a huge profit. Yes, I could have got into the that resort, that investment in Jamaica, and see immediate, you know, um, returns. Yes, I could have done that, but I chose the latter, which is my Niji clothing creations. You know what I'm saying? So I took a loan. Now, I don't have to tell y'all all this, but I'm just letting you know how I move, right? I took a loan for what I think $25,000, right? And I know if I put that in real estate, because the investment for the real estate was only about, I think, $18,000. The five different individuals plus myself, right? It would have been each of us put, I think they told me like 18,000, and then we would get a few properties, right? The resort in Jamaica was a total of 25,000, but I would only have to put 5,000 and pay in installments, right? So the loan would cover all that, and then there was already a laid out plan as to how much I would be getting. You know what I'm saying? By per per return, installment return, and all that was laid out. But I decided to go into a market I know nothing of. I don't know the sizes of women. I even barely know my size because when I go get clothes, I just try it on. And if it feels good, I put on the clothes. I don't know what bust is. I don't know the size of hips. I don't know the size of anything. I don't know the size of arm's length. I mean, I was confused, okay, like a fish out of water. But I decided to go into that market. Why? Because I know that there is work to be done for our people. And one of the things that I know is that we have to start wearing who we are. Okay. So with my Niji, I heard about that term, just the word my Niji, about 4 years ago. Okay. I didn't know what my Niji was. Now I know what the N word is, which is, what everybody always call my N word. I know, and I don't like that word because I don't want nobody to call me that. Okay. But anyway, when I saw the word, I said, okay, that word just resonated with me. So immediately what I did was I bought the domain name. Okay. I own about probably like about maybe 100 domain names. I own American Indian. I own My Niji. I own Turtle Island. I own Turtle Islanders. I own American Aborigines. I own all those domain names. Okay. And right now, people are trying to buy them. Okay. But I'm not selling them. The point I'm making is this. So I've owned the domain name My Niji for about 4 years. Right. And the clothing, again, is not something that, I mean, of course, I always talk about us creating our own, but the clothing creations is not something that I wanted to, because I knew it was a challenge. So I was more, again, gearing towards the real estate, all the different investments, cryptocurrencies I was doing for a while. But the ancestors spoke to me, and I had to listen, I have to listen. Now, whether it may be a success or not, it doesn't matter. I'm not even focused on that. My thing is I'm very obedient, and that's where I'm at with that. You feel me? So with that being said, we have a lot of our people, if it's not Apple, if it's not Gucci, if it's not Louis, everything that we actually wear belongs to somebody else. We don't have anything that says this is who I am. We don't have anything to declare this is who I am. And that was the main reason why I got into the clothing business. Of course, I would be hypocritical to say, well, hey, you know what? I got into the clothing business not to make money. Of course, everybody wants to make a profit. But my thing is, there is work to be done. There is work to be done. I want to create opportunities for us, okay? Opportunities for indigenous people. I want community centers. I want to do a lot of different things. And through the clothing line or the clothing creations, okay, just that whole movement, all right, I don't just believe because I don't do belief systems. I know that I will be able to do those things. You feel what I'm saying? So when you put on my Niji, you're going to make a declaration, whether it's on your book bag, whether it's on your feet, whether it's on your shirt or your pants or your headband or even your underwear or whatever the case may be. You dig? We have to make the declaration because that clothes is carrying energy. When you wear somebody else's clothes, that's also an energy that you are putting on you. And that energy is either going to uplift you or it's going to keep you down. So I wanted to create something that's going to uplift indigenous people. So when you put on, okay, when you put on my Niji, it's going to uplift, okay, because it's going to make you feel a certain way. And that was the main reason why I decided to get into the clothing business, particularly with that name, because I had different concepts of doing a clothing line, okay, way back then. But I didn't do it. But this is right. This is ripe. And the time is now. You feel me? And I know a lot of people, always come and, they say, well, you know what? I want my people to support me and this and that, and they will do this and they'll do that. Everybody have their own journey, but I only know me, right? I only know what I will bring and what I will do my entire life. I mean, let me see. I would say it's been about 22 years, about 21 to 22 years. I've been on the internet teaching, whether it was about, I started off first, I think, talking about, you know, men to be good fathers. I had an organization called, and I think that was about 19 or 20 years ago. I created an organization called The Father in Me. I did rallies in front of the courthouse downtown Brooklyn, gathered people, did flyers, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 flyers, go to the train station, give them out. And I had a rally with about 50 people in front of the court, rallying on the rights of fathers because I just didn't like the fact that a man would be there for his child and the mother would turn around and still put him in child support because he didn't want to be with her, but yesterday he was a good father. I was a victim of that. And I did a rally and I was going talking to fathers, helping fathers with child support situations. Even got to the point where I had to go to court and did a DVD and put on the DVD. I told the judge, listen, man, if you're trying to send me to jail for being a good father, I'm going to give you a reason to send me to jail because I have no fear. And then the next time I went to court, they had about 16 to 17 court officers. I knew they was there for me because I felt it. I walk into the courtroom, the judge looking at me, I'm looking at her. Say, oh, well, young man, do you know that it's against the law to threaten a judge? I said, what do you mean? Where did I threaten the judge? Oh, well, we got your DVD and you said that anybody could be found. I said, yes, that's a fact. The internet is right there. Anybody can be, anybody could be found. Where's the threat in that? I just need this woman to stop. Okay? Trying to make me a deadbeat man because I don't want to be with her. Every day she come into court and cry. And you listen to her. And you're trying to penalize me and send me to jail because I'm a good father, not hearing what my son got to say for himself. And that was only then that judge, that day, everything changed. That judge gave me my respect. Gave me my respect. And the ancestors continued to work in my favor until I think another year or two. While they had me on child support, mind you, for being a good dad, I had my receipts. I walked into court with a whole bag of receipts, a whole bag, a sack of receipts on my back. And the judge said, well, she said, well, sir, what you do for your child is a gift. And what the mother do is child care. So I say, hold up, you're telling me all the thousands and thousands, the receipts I got, that's a gift. And what she do is child care and she ain't got one receipt? And right off the rip, the judge said, well, she said you didn't do anything. You owe her $10,000. Right off the rip. But I had all the receipts. I was keeping my son 3 days a week, and on Sundays we alternate. That was the deal that we made. Even when I went to court, that was on paper. I would have my son 3 days a week. The judge still turned around and told me I have to pay $10,000 in back child support, plus give her $600 a month. That just didn't sit right with me. So I fought for myself. I fought. Even if it had to, in a way, almost look like I was threatening, I had to do it in a skillful way, where it didn't come off as a literal threat, but it was a threat because I was frustrated. But my heart was in the right place because I was always there for my son. No matter what happened, no matter what she did to me, I was always there for my son. You feel me? Make false calls to get me arrested falsely when we're not even in the same vicinity. I remember one time we went to court and we were on the, I think the third or the sixth floor. Now the court in downtown Brooklyn is huge. Okay, I was on one side. I was on the northern side of the building, sitting on a bench. And she walked in and she was on the southern side. She looked at me, I looked at her, I didn't say anything. In fact, I couldn't say anything because the place is so huge. Do you know that woman went to the court officer and said, this man came into the bathroom and threatened me. And do you know that it was about 8 o'clock in the AM? The court officers called the police. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've been sitting here since I got into this building at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. I haven't moved. And do you know that they took me to the precinct? They never fingerprinted me. They had me sitting there until 7 p.m. at night. And they just let me go. They said, well, so you're free to go. I was like, what's the charge? You didn't fingerprint me. You never told me what you got me in here for. All they said was, she said, you went into the bathroom. I went to the court. I went back into the building. I said, I need the cameras. I need to see, you guys have cameras, right? Well, even before that, it was a female officer who had me in handcuffs. I said, listen, check the cameras. The court officer said, oh, well, the cameras, they're just there. They don't record. You're trying to tell me downtown Brooklyn, such a big place, the cameras, and they're not recording? I knew that was a lie. And I'm cool. I'm calm. The female officer, oh, well, don't move. This is, what you said, don't move. This is something, it could be resisting arrest. I said, officer, I'm not doing anything. My hand is behind my back. The point I'm making is, I'm just letting you know that a lot of people don't know my journey. Some do, some don't. I don't know your journey. You feel me? And I'm saying all that to say is, sometimes you just have to stand up for what's right. And I stood up for what's right, no matter what she did to me. And that, yes, that happened. That was just one occasion. Another time I was in my house and my son called me. He said, Dad, I forgot my house keys, my mom's house keys at your house. Okay. Can you bring it down for her for me? I told my son, I said, listen, man, I don't deal with this young lady, man, but I'm going to do it for you. Anyway, long story short, I told him to tell her to text me when she's downstairs, my apartment, and I will bring the keys for her. 15 minutes passed, no text. Half an hour, no text. About 45 minutes, my son texted me and said that she's downstairs. I took the keys. I went downstairs walking towards the car. All right. I seen a car pass by and she was in the car. She didn't stop. The car just passed, right? I went back upstairs. I called my son. I said, hey, son, listen. Your mom just passed. She didn't stop for the keys, whatever the case may be. Do you know I got a letter in the mail, a restraining order saying that I went downstairs and I punched the door. I punched the window of the car and I threatened her and her new baby. On my father's grave, on one of my grandmother's grave. I didn't talk to the woman. The car didn't stop. She just passed. The police came and arrested me again. All right. And this time with a restraining order for an entire year, saying that I threatened her and a newborn baby. Didn't talk to the woman. I didn't see the woman. You feel me? Yet still, I was still fighting for my son. Didn't give up. No matter what she did to try to prove to the world that I was a deadbeat dad, I never gave up. Because I kept fighting for mine. That's mine. You're not going to take that away from me because I don't want to be with you. Yes, if I have to go to jail, I'll go to jail for being a good father. You feel me? Anyway, that happened. I ain't stressing. It just so happened that let me show you how the Great Spirit works. Okay, and when you keep doing the right thing will always happen to you. And no matter what happens in between, it is just part of the journey. When my son was 10, in fact, my son, since this my son was 7, my son keeps saying, Dad, I want to come live with you. And I'm like, your son, listen, the court says, you know what, she's the custodian. There's nothing I could do. You spend 3 days with your dad, and on Sundays we alternate. That's all I could do right now. So from the time my son realized what was going on till he was about 11, almost 12, my son always said he wanted to come live with his dad. All right. When my son was about 12, I don't, because everything that she did, and I'm not on here telling you my business. It's not about telling my business. It's about telling you the experience. Because a lot of people may be going through something, okay, and not realizing that all this is for a reason. All this is for a purpose, okay. And mind you, regardless of me having my son, taking care of my son, I am still paying child support, and the judge will not budge. It's only when I did that DVD, she dropped it from 600 a month to I think four something a month, which I still didn't want to pay because I had my son 3 days a week. You feel me? So anyway, when my son was about I think 11 and a half going on 12, he was at his mom's house. So I would go pick him up because it was during the summertime. I didn't want him to stay in the house by himself, right? So I'll go pick him up and take him to the park, whether to work out, play basketball. Even that she would get mad at. She would just rather my son stay in the house by himself, opposed to he and his dad going to the park. Even when it wasn't my days, I would just do that because that's my boy. You feel me? So it was a Thursday. Took my son to the park. It was about 7. I said, son, listen, I got to take you home because you know how situations could get. So I took him home. Everything was cool. About 8:30, I got a call from my son. Dad, mommy's cursing me out, doing this and doing that, that. I said, son, listen, you already know what it is. There's nothing I could do right now, but I promise you, a few more years to go, you'll be living with your dad, all right, full time. Okay. So I told him to calm down. He was crying, everything was good. About 9:30, 9:45, I got another call from my son, my hysterical, crying, Dad, mom took a bottle and she smashed it in my face and my face is bleeding. Yo, the first impulse was to go and, man, hurt somebody because that's my son. You feel me? But a couple of things. I've never seen my dad put his hand on my mom. Okay? Never seen my dad put his hand on my mom. So that wasn't part of the way I was raised. I never heard my mom and my dad get into any arguments where they were cursing each other. So I did not grow up with that, seeing that type of stuff. All right. So, but however, even if I didn't grow up seeing that and that wasn't part of me, I remember, I'm just giving you a little history, right? I remember when I was 19, about 20, I had a girlfriend and she was always doing things to piss me off. And one day she pissed me off so bad, I smacked her. All right. And that was the first time I put my hand on a woman. All right. And the way she cried, because I cared about her, the way she cried, it hurt me. You feel me? Because even if she did what she did, you know, which I don't know if she went into my bag or she went into my wallet, whatever the case was. The point is, whatever she did, it caused a reaction for me to smack her, right? So I hit her. And that was the first time I ever did that. And I made a vow to myself, I will never put my hand on a woman ever again in my life because that wasn't the way my parents raised me. You feel me? So that was that. But when my son called me, that was the first thing that went through my head. You hit my son, you put his blood out, I'm going to put your blood out. So I jumped in a taxi and I was furious. But while I was in the taxi ride, the higher self spoke to me again. You know, you know what, Chief? Just chill, relax, calm yourself down. Maybe that's the universe giving you the answers that you were looking for, but you just didn't know how to get it. So I said, cool. So when I got there, my son came out with his bag, a bag of, a laundry bag of his clothes. Now, mind you, at that time, I didn't have my own apartment. I was staying in a friend's house. He had a small apartment. I was sleeping on his floor for just on, on a blanket and a comforter. All right. Didn't have a place of my own to stay. I didn't have my own place. And my son came out with his bag. So I knew things had to change. Something had to give. When he came out, I said, son, listen, this is the only way we could do this. I can't touch your moms. The only thing I could do is call the police because you're out here bleeding. Okay, your face is cut. All right. So the police came. They pulled me to the side. They said, listen, sir, we're going to have to arrest her. All right. So I pulled my son to the side and I said, hey, son, listen, they're going to arrest your mom. But I would like you to, I want us to walk around the corner because I don't want you to have the image of your mom being in handcuffs. Now, mind you, after all I went through, I still didn't want my son to see that. You feel me? Even if the physical part of me would want him to see it happening, the higher self, that wasn't the right thing to do because I didn't want him to have that in his mind. Now, mind you, all that is after a situation in court when the judge had said, I'm digressing here a little bit. When the judge said, listen, miss, obviously this man cannot pay $600 and something a month. Is there any way your lawyer and his lawyer could work something out and y'all could work something out outside of the court? Because if you don't and he can't pay the 647, he's going to go to jail. His license is going to get suspended, et cetera, et cetera. You know what she said? She said, I don't care. Let him go to jail. Even after all that, that day, years later, I didn't want my son to see his mom in handcuffs. But anyway, she got arrested that Thursday. Didn't have a place of my own. So I went to, my boy I was living with. I said, hey, bro, check this out. This is the situation. My son is going to be here for a couple of days. I don't know how long. Honestly, I only had probably about $200 in my bank account. So I told my son, listen, don't worry about it, man. We're going to be all right. So I started asking people if they know of apartments that Friday. That incident happened on Thursday. And then the Friday, I started asking people if they know of any apartments. Somebody told me there was an apartment on East 37th Street, literally about 5 minutes from where I stayed. So I went there, I knocked on the door. The lady opened up. I spoke to her, told her my situation. She said, listen, I have an apartment upstairs. Do you want to see it? But I brought my son with me. All right. I said, son, listen, do you like this apartment? He said, yes, dad. All right, cool. I told the lady, give me a couple of days. On Monday, the rent was 13. My son was about to be 12. The rent was at that time, I think $13.50 for a one-bedroom apartment. I told the lady, listen, is there any way you could give it to me for $12.75? Not for $1,300, because I explained to you my situation. I told her about the child support, everything. I told her everything. She said, okay, if you could bring me a deposit, and she didn't do 3 ways. She said 2 ways, the deposit and the first month rent. If you could bring that to me on Monday, then I will give you the apartment. Now, mind you, I only have $200 in my bank. So that's $2,600 I had to come up with. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On Monday, 2.5 to almost 3 days, I had to come up with $2,600. Okay. And I only had $200 in my name. I told her, give me until Monday. I want this apartment. But even before I told her, I asked my son, I said, son, do you want this apartment? Do you like it? He said, yes, dad. I went back to my boy's house, sat my son down. I said, listen, man, this is a journey that we're going to take together. Okay. We are going to, I don't know how it's going to happen, but we are going to make it happen. All right. I got you. You feel me? Yo, I started making calls. By Monday, all right, I had about $2,800 on Monday. People that I did favors, because one thing with me, I love to give. people that I did favors, people that I gave money and I didn't want it back, or people who owed me. All right. I wasn't even stressing them. They know once I called, I would not just call. Okay. I made a few calls, and on Monday I had I think $2,800. $2,800. Okay, the two that I had plus the 26 that I needed. I went to the lady. I said, listen, here's the money. Got a money order for $2,600. She gave me the lease. I went upstairs. My son wasn't even 12 years old. He was about to be 12. I sat down. I said, Miss, is it okay if my son signed the lease? I know he's a minor, but you know, I'm his guardian, so it's okay. So I had my son sign that lease, and I signed. I did that for one reason, so that my son, it could be in his mind, to make the imprint in his mind that this place is his. So I signed the lease, and I had him sign the lease. And I told him, you know what I'm letting you sign, son? So that you know that this is yours and nobody could take it away from you. He signed the lease. I signed the lease. And on that, and actually that same Monday, I went to court and I filed for full custody of my son. Guess what happened? The court gave me full custody. Guess what happened? The court put her on child support. Now, even before that happened, they said, well, listen, we're going to have to put her on child support. I said, I don't want to do that. I just want my son to be with me. I don't want to put her on child support. Now, I'm going to be honest. The physical part of my being wanted to put her on child support for revenge. But the higher self said, you know what? If you do that, you wouldn't be doing it for the right reasons. So don't put her on child support. So I didn't put her on child support for a good 6 months. But they were still charging me child support even if I had full custody, because they gave me full custody and she only had visitation rights every other weekend because of what she did, right? And she had to go to therapy, So anyway, my lawyer told me, listen, even if you have custody, they are still looking at her as the natural custodian and they're still charging you child support. The only way to offset this is to put her on child support. I said, listen, man, I don't want to do that. But after 8 months, I said, you know what, man? I'm tired of doing this child support, still doing child support. I got to pay rent. I told him, you know what, go ahead and do it. And they put her on child support. I'm saying all that to say, okay, is that I know I spoke about a lot of things, but the moral of this video is this. Anything that you're going through in your life, you're going through that for a reason. There's a purpose, a bigger purpose you may not comprehend. You may not understand at the moment and think life is against you, that everybody's against you, that things are not working out, that you have bad luck. No, you are going through this to make you a better individual. But you have to be able to discern and see the lesson in the experiences. You feel me? You have to be able to do that. And because of me standing for my little boy and I, we have a great relationship up to this day. And now my little boy has a son. And guess what? He's in his son's life. And that makes me emotional because I know a lot of men that was there for theirs and they gave up because they felt that them giving up on their children or their son or their daughter would be revenge on their child's mother. But I'm here to tell you today, it's never about your child's mother or it's never about your child's father. It's about your child or your children. You have to do what's best for them. You feel me? And the way that he loved his son, it reminds me of the way that I loved him. The way he holds his son, it reminds me of the way I held him. I used to call him my little man. He called his son his little man. You feel me? So my journey and my purpose is for something bigger. You know what I mean? It's for something bigger, and everything that I do, and even with my Lineage clothing line, I know it's for something bigger. is for something better. No matter what I have to go through, it doesn't matter how much I have to deal with. I know the ancestors gave me that because they have been guiding me. And I don't mean to let y'all see me tear up on here. You know, I mean, it's cool. They say men don't cry. That's not true. Men cry. You feel me? And this is not tears of pain. Yes, it's tears of pain, but yet even more so, it's tears of joy because I'm happy. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, you have to find your purpose in life. And once again, this is not on here telling the world my story as my business as to gossip. No, there's a lesson in all this. And the lesson is always know that whatever you're dealing with, you are bigger than that. And you could overcome anything, regardless of what it seems like. You did. And now I'm a grandfather for the first time. I love this little boy. Yeah, he's just growing so fast. And that legacy is now, I'm able to pass that legacy on. You know what I mean? My son has a job, you know, his girl, she works in a bank. He works for UPS. I mean, I'm just so proud right now. You know what I mean? And I sat he and his girl down and I had a conversation with them because, of course, he knew what I went through. He knew what we went through. And he also told his girl what his dad went through. And I had a conversation with them. And I sat down with them and I said, listen, you guys are young. You have a son, and life is not always going to give you what you ask, but life is always going to give you what you need. So focus on the needs. Now, keep that in mind. Relationships don't always work. Okay? And I said, let me be specific. Sexual relationships don't always work, but a loving relationship can be eternal. No, that's the discussion I had with my son and his girl. And I reiterated that. Okay, I said, son, I called his girl name. I said, I'm going to repeat that again. Sexual relationships may not always work, but a loving relationship can be eternal. So regardless of what happens between y'all, I want y'all to do me a favor. Even if you guys don't make it in a sexual relationship, promise me that you will have a loving relationship for your child, that you will be cordial with each other. And I told this girl, make me a promise. She called me dad. She said, what, dad? I said, do me a favor. Regardless of whatever happens between you and my son, do me a favor that you will never put him on child support. Okay? If he go astray from how I raised them to always be there for his, then that's fine. Just know that your son, his son, have a grandfather that's going to be there. So you don't need to put him on child support. I will take the responsibility, the financial responsibility. And she said, Dad, you know what? That's not in my nature anyway. I would never put him on child support. I said, I know. I'm not saying you would. I'm just saying if things don't work out, don't be vindictive and do that to him. I will step up. And she said, Dad, I promise you. You feel me? So I'm saying all that to say, and I know I keep saying all that to say, but moral of the story is communication, relationships. Communication is key. Understanding, understanding, overstanding. Be real. Men, stand up. The community, stand up. You see, I know the concept of community and village. So wherever he might be lacking, I'm going to step in and make sure he's good. And now they have their own apartment. They are doing good. And I'm just on cloud 13. I know most people say 9, but I'm on 13 just because of that. All right. So the road hasn't been easy. It's been bumpy. Nobody knows for the past year and a half, 2 years. Nobody knows that I was sleeping in a basement on floors, no bathroom, no toilet, no showers. I had to go in people's places and ask to use their bathroom. You see, nobody knows your story. And I got videos of everything because I got to tell the world my story. It's only just recently I got an apartment because everything that I have, I've been giving and giving and giving and giving. Not just my son, but my family, my friends, people I don't even know. Just giving. See, when you're selfless, at times you have to be in situations you ask yourself, hold up, man, I'm doing all these things for people and doing all this, and why is this happening to me? But I had to know, and I understood that it's just part of the journey. I knew it was just an illusion that I was living. It's not real. So I just accepted what it was. And now I have my own apartment. Okay. I just got the apartment. What? September 1st was the first month. 2 years prior to that, I was sleeping in the basement on literally on four paint buckets, and I put a piece of plywood across, a comfort and a blanket. You see what I'm saying? So, don't matter what you're going through, don't matter what you've been through, more challenging times will come. Just know that the physical body is the only thing experiencing that. Once your higher self is always in control, once your higher self, you know that you're always a victor, you're always winning, regardless of what the physical body is going through. Because don't confuse the two, they're not the same. Always know that the higher self will take the physical body out of that situation. But you have to go through that test. You have to go through that journey. You have to go through the pain. And fortunately to know that diamonds, they come from the rough. Okay? Diamonds come from the rough. So, yes, things may be rough, things may be tough, but just know that you are a diamond. And if you just take your time, you will shine. And we all will shine. So, I hope this video spoke to somebody. I don't know who it spoke to. I was about to go to the park and do a workout, and there was a little internal battle whether I should come on here and talk about this, or just talk a period, because I didn't plan on going into all of this, but the spirit just led me into that. Okay, and I'm not disappointed that I did, because maybe what I spoke of today, somebody might be going through something, whether it's a father dealing with his children, or a mother dealing with her children, and the father's situation or the mother's situation, whatever the case may be. Okay, and you want to be vindictive, or you want to be hurtful, or you keeping the man's child away from him because of that reason, because he didn't want to be with you, or vice versa. Maybe my story could help you change your mind and always know that the children comes first. Put them first. All right? And all the abuse, don't expose them to that. The way you speak, the language you use, the drinking around them, the smoking around them, be that example. Nobody's saying that if you choose to drink or smoke, do it. That's fine. You're grown. I can't tell you what to do. But don't expose your little ones to that. When they grow up, let them make their own decision. I see too many people sitting and smoking and drinking around their children, cursing and all these languages. Nah, man. Can't be exposing your children to that, man. And that's why I tell people there's a difference between a woman and a female. There's a difference between a man and a male. You know which one you are. I'm not here to point any fingers. But I know that I manifested here to make us better. I know I manifested here to do greater things in our lives. And my Lineage is just another part of the journey. That's what it is. So I'm asking y'all to support this brand. Well, not brand, these creations, because I'm going to use it to do great things for us. And you could only know when a man or a woman is true to their word based on their past actions, based on their track record. Whether you just stand to see my videos or you go way back from the beginning, you always know that Chief Kalinago was always giving. He was always sharing. He was always pouring his all. So nothing is going to change now because it's for a better and a bigger purpose. So it's time to declare who we are by what we wear. It's a public declaration. So I want to thank you for being a part of this build. And once again, may I reiterate, I did not tell you these stories to talk bad about my son's mother. No, I still have no ill will towards her. I still don't. Even up to this present day, she's still trying to prove to the world I am and I was a deadbeat dad. But yes, still my father and I, we like this. Her mother and I, we like this. Her sister and her sisters and I, we like this. So that alone should tell you something. So I didn't come on here to speak ill of her. I came here to tell my story. And of course, I'm certainly sure she may have a different story, but guess what? I got receipts to prove the stories that I tell. You feel me? So I'm saying this to reiterate that it wasn't about coming on Facebook to tell my business or put her down. No. All right. She's still a great mom, regardless of whatever she was dealing with. Nobody's perfect. I still believe that deep down, she's still a good mom. And even when my son would feel certain ways, I would say, listen, I don't care what your mom do. I never want to see you disrespect your mom. I mean, I would get up in his ass if he ever came out of pocket to say anything about his mom, regardless of what, because I had to teach him to honor your mother and father, regardless of what. Honor. And I instilled that in him. Okay? So always be honorable, even if people dishonor you. Always be honorable. You know why? Because the universe is going to take care of them. Remember, the only true judge is karma. There's no sky daddy, there's no sky mammy, there's no sky mama that's sitting anywhere judging anybody. You are judged not on your intentions, but your actions. That's what you are judged on. And that is the only true judge is karma. So whatever you do, just know that the universe is going to give it back to you, and sometimes 10 times fold. That's why I don't lie, I don't steal, I don't cheat, I don't do none of that. Now, some of you may say, well, Chief, you seem to be talking like you're a perfect man. I am a perfect, imperfect man. And the reason why I say that is because I know the physical body still have flaws. It could still falter. You feel me? But I know that my higher self is in so much control that I will not allow the lower self to take me or have me do things that's contrary to what I know that my higher self will not condone. So I am one of the realest ones that's walking this planet right now because I give it to you like it is. I don't play games. I don't do none of that. Because there's no need to. When you truly know what life is supposed to be about, be true, be in honor always. And therefore, honor will find you. You don't have to find honor, it will find you. Be respectful, respect will find you. Give unto others, and other people will give unto you. Not necessarily the same people, but give unto others, and others will give unto you. Love, and love will be given back unto you. It is really that simple, man. It's not that difficult. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Okay? And you could only work on yourself. You cannot change anybody. You cannot change the world. You could only change yourself. And by you changing yourself, the world will change itself because we are the world. All right? So no matter what you're going through, I don't care how painful it is. I don't care how, you know, uh, I mean, how tough it is. I don't care how embarrassing it may be. It's okay. Know that you are going to be just fine. All right? I'm about to go to the park and get a little workout. Um, I will keep you guys updated in terms of the clothing situation. Like I said, the merchandise is coming in. Still working on the website, working on the merchant account, but the trademarks have already been filed, so all that stuff is in place. What I'm just asking each and every one of you is just know the bigger purpose behind what I'm doing, and I'm asking you to support it. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate love each and every one of you. Let me see if I could go through this and give a little shout out to those who came on. I want to give a shout out to Abu. I appreciate you being here today. Lisa Stanford, thank you for being a part of the build. Anthony, thank you for being a part of the build. I appreciate that. Salima, thank you for being a part of the build today. Spiritual elevation, thank you. Who else do we have? Start, I think that's what it is. Christ, thank you for being a part of the build. I know some people actually came on Facebook. Let me see if I could see who's on Facebook. Winston, Adome, Winham, Ellis Moore. I think it's what's that? Layo. If I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, I apologize. But it's Ya. We have Michael Brandley. Thank you. Um, what is that? Bagay. Thank you. That's the so-called last name. Lisa, Kev, Romaine, Love Jones, Jael, Ken, Humphrey, Roots, Sawa or Sao, and yes, and Sean Treese, I think. Glenn, thank you. I just want to, if I butchered your name, I apologize. Honestly, I apologize. All right. So y'all have a great continuation. Be good to each other and find your purpose, find your reason. Don't be afraid to step into your purpose and make it a reality. Let it manifest because guess what? It doesn't matter what happens, what anybody does is going to be a success. Why? Because it's your purpose. It was meant to be. And if you were meant to be, I promise you, it's going to be a success. Just know that there is no other God but you. You are what it is. You are the I am. And you can change your life right now by changing your mind, manifesting everything that you need and want. It can be yours. So live your best life. Don't wait till this so-called afterlife. There's no such thing as afterlife. There's only one life. Okay? All there is life. I don't know why religion is teaching people about this afterlife. Okay? There's only one life. It's only after for the physical being. The physical being is what's limited, but there's only one life. And life is continuous and life is absolute. Okay? There's no beginning in life and there's no ending in life. It's just a journey. We come through this dimension, but we're not from this dimension. All right. I hope that makes sense. I love y'all and y'all have a great one. This is your brother Chief Kalanago. Take care. Thank you.